In this lecture, I'm going to introduce you to the F-curve. The F-curve is used to manipulate animations in real time and can be used to alter your location, rotation and scale on the fly. So let's look at this in Blender. I'm using the animation that we created in the last lecture when we had a look at the dope sheet. Now that we've had a look at the dope sheet, I'm going to bring this panel here upwards. This is the F-curve, and this is where we can make different alterations to our animations. So as we can see, with the exception of the dope sheet summary tab, we have the exact same as we did in the dope sheet. We have the cube, the object, we have the action for the object and details of the action. We can select any of these black dots by right clicking. Each dot when clicked turns yellow and has two circles either side. These circles can be moved and altered to change the shape of our graph. So I'm going to press escape there. I'm going to go back to the first scene. So this is what our animation currently looks like. And there we go. Now let's see what happens if we change some of these values. So I'm going to grab this value and I'm going to drag it along here, and we can actually see that it's making changes, moving up and down, is scaling our object. We can also see, if you look at the timeline, that we are moving up and down the frames as we move from left to right. So up and down is to scale our object, left and right is to move across the frames. And click. Now let's have a look at our scene, see if it's any different. So not much has changed there. Let's see if we can change that though. Let's try scaling it up. So let's bring this up. And we can see now that the graph takes a very sharp, steep curve. So let's have a look at this. We'll press the play animation. And there we go, it begins scaling up. Fantastic. Let's have a look at what can happen when we click on this green section here. So we're going to play the animation. Very interesting. Let's have a look at what happens if we change this. So let's see what happens if we drag this down. So that seems to have moved a lot quicker this time. So we can actually see that the green has affected how fast our animation moves. So this must have something to do with our location. Let's have a look at this by moving our animation across. Very interesting. Do we see how it changes on the fly? So the animation is continuing, but we can continue to change the values in real time. So let's bring it up here, see how it works. So it's definitely impacting our location, isn't it guys? So let's release that and let the animation play for a bit. And we'll pause that. So finally let's have a look at the red line, how this is impacted. So we've got it selected here, which is roughly, I think this is scene 90, so frame 90 is currently selected, and we're going to play, see what happens. And there we go, fairly straightforward. That's what it was happening before. Now let's move this up quite a lot. Let's see how much that changes. So again, location is the key there. And the main change there is that it has moved much further along the x-axis than it did before. Finally, we're going to see what happens when we manipulate these two widgets. So, we've seen the animation before. Let's see what happens if we extend and drag these widgets. So we'll drag this one and we'll drag this one. So let's see what happens now. Very sharp. So we can see it's a bit sharper. Let's have a look here. So we've got our blue line. Let's manipulate this curve. So now we can see that we can actually start multiple scales, so we can use this to scale it up and then down again based on the shape of our curve. In that case, what would happen if I zoomed out, and I've got to zoom out quite a bit actually, what would happen if we bring this one in and bring this one across? So nice and slow, and there's our animation. So the F-curve is very powerful, so there's a whole load of things that we can do here in terms of manipulating scale, rotation, speed of location, etc. A good idea right now would be for you guys to just try and play around with this yourselves. It can be a bit fidgety at times, but it's very good to get used to this software. So right now I'm just playing about, seeing what animations can suit me. So as I've moved this bar here, the animation has turned out to be a lot slower. So there you go, that's how the F-curve works, and in time with the dope sheet you can really make great alterations to your animations now. So you're not limited by just the simple basics, and it doesn't just give you automatically an animation. You can manually edit your animations to how you see fit using the dope sheet and the F-curve. So thanks a lot for that guys, and I will see you in the next lecture.